Ladies, gentlemen, and legends of all ages, with Pokémon Legends Z-A fully released and countless playthroughs underway, one of the biggest questions in any Pokémon game for a lot of players is how do you make any given Pokémon more powerful? There are quite a few ways that you can do that in general, and a few of them are either different or new within this game, so today we're going to go over each step of making a quote-unquote perfect Pokémon, as well as going over how to do it and any details that will help you along the way. This applies for any Pokémon. The process is the same, regardless of which one that you want to boost. As we start then, two main notes, which is mostly just two things that are normally a part of this process in other Pokemon games, but do not exist inside of this one. The first one is abilities. Normally your Pokemon's ability would be a passive trait. It's something that you might want to change or alter to its hidden ability, but in this game, Pokemon simply do not have abilities to begin with, so that is not a thing you can do, and just don't worry about it. Some Pokemon do have effects that match their typical ability during combat or reference it in some way, but the concept of abilities just isn't in the game, so ability manipulation is not a thing. The other thing to talk about is breeding. There is no breeding possible in this game, which means that you cannot create an endless pile of your favorite Pokemon as a baby, looking for one that has naturally perfect IVs, or to try and pass down specific moves in that way either. That said, let's go over what we do have and the ways that you can mess with it, starting with IVs, with a process called hyper training. For a simple refresher on what IVs are, they are an inherent stat boost that every Pokemon has to each of its 6 stats. They are invisible until you finish the main story, at which point you unlock the Judge function, which lets you see a Pokemon's IVs even before you have caught them, as well as being able to see the actual rankings of their IVs if you already own them. These bonus stat ranges then go from 0 to 31 in each stat, and essentially if a Pokemon has a perfect IV in a stat, that means they will have 31 bonus of that stat at max level. Every Pokemon spawns in with a random set of IVs, with the slight exception that Alpha Pokemon specifically will always have 3 of their stats at the perfect max value IV. So if you are trying to get a perfect version of a Pokemon that can spawn as an Alpha, and you don't view the fact that Alphas are physically larger as being a downside, then this is one way to make that process a little bit more efficient. But the main thing that you need to know for this one is hyper training. This is a function that's unlocked once you reach D rank in the ZA Royale. After that point, you can head to the Justice Dojo on the eastern side of the city, and when you walk in here, there will be an NPC who just has a text bubble above their head announcing hyper training, which is pretty obvious. If you have bottle caps, you can talk to her and she will change the IVs of a Pokemon, but the currency you need for this is something that you might not have right away when you unlock it. Regular bottle caps will max out one singular IV of your choice each, so you would need 6 bottle caps for full perfect. Gold bottle caps are just straight up all 6 stats in one go straight away. You can get a small pile of bottle caps from a research reward list, specifically 10 regular bottle caps at research level 36, and then 3 gold bottle caps at research level 48. Otherwise, you have to wait until you finish the story and you will start to generate bottle caps from the post-game version of the ZA Royale activity. Next up, let's talk about EVs, and I don't mean the fluffy little squirrel Pokemon, I mean EVs. For a quick recap on EVs, these are decided during your Pokemon's existence in your possession. They are also stat increases, but these ones naturally increase as you defeat Pokemon in combat, and the specific Pokemon that you defeat will give you EVs in one of the 6 stats. You can get up to 252 EVs in a stat before you hit the cap, and at level 100, that is the equivalent of around 63 bonus points in that stat, so twice as much value as IVs. But doing both together is over 100 points of total value in the stat that you boost. That said, unlike IVs, EVs are more limited. You can hit up to 252 in a single stat, but you can't have more than 510 total, so you can hit max in 2 stats, and then a super minor amount into a 3rd stat, meaning that you have to know the stats that you want to boost in order to make the right choices. As for actively manipulating your EVs, you can do it a little bit early game, but it is tough and it's low reward to effort ratio. There is a market stall in this spot here on your map to the west, and it sells berries that lower your EVs in a specific stat by 10. But after you complete story mission number 20, you will unlock a new NPC in the Rust Syndicate building to the southwest. Walk up to the receptionist here and talk to her, and she will fully reset the EVs of any Pokemon for the extremely low cost of 5 Mega Shards. That's practically free, honestly, and it's way easier and quicker than the berries once you have this unlocked. As for increasing your EVs in bulk, there is the various feather items that mostly are just things you pick up from sparkles on the floor as you walk around, but these only increase an EV by 1 point each, so you'd have to use 252 feathers to max out 1 stat, which is not ideal. Instead, what you really want are vitamins, and these increase the related stats EV by 10 points each, so essentially to fully max out an EV, you need 25 vitamins and 2 feathers, or an equivalency. Vitamins can be found inside of random pokeballs around the world in limited amounts, but again, when you finish the story mission number 20, another function will unlock, which is that all Poke Centers will increase their store stock, and they will begin to sell vitamins for 5,000 Poke Dollars each. And so ignoring the 2 feathers part of it, 25 of these would cost 125,000, meaning that is around the required amount for maxing out a singular EV on one Pokemon. The next step is to talk about natures. Every Pokemon has a nature when it spawns into existence, and nature is essentially just a specific word used in the Pokemon summary to describe a specific stat change. Here is a list of natures and what they do, but basically there are a few natures that do nothing at all, no stat changes, and then there are natures that boost one stat while lowering another one. Generally speaking, your ideal nature is the one that boosts a stat that you care about, and for the most part, most players will go with either attack or special attack, depending on whether your chosen Pokemon is better at doing attacks or special attacks, and then lowering the reverse version of that stat. So for a Pokemon that excels at special attack specifically, you might want the nature that increases special attack while reducing attack. That won't apply to all cases, of course. Sometimes you want a Pokemon to use both physical and special moves, sometimes you want to boost speed on a Pokemon or one of your defense stats for one reason or another, though it is worth noting that you cannot boost HP specifically through natures. However, the general concept of it all is all laid out right there. As for how to control a Pokemon's nature, if it is something that is easy to catch, relatively speaking, you just want to grab a few of them and see what they roll, because they will roll with a random nature each time. But if you have something that already has like ideal IVs, or if it's a tough thing to catch repeatedly, you can manually alter the nature of a Pokemon using mints. These nature mints are sold at market stalls around the city. Unfortunately, there is not one singular stall that has every mint, but there is one place that has most of the mints, and then a second spot that has the rest. The main spot is right here in this little area east of Wild Zone 3. There are 4 market stalls in here that sell mints, and between them they sell all of the ones that boost attack, defense, special attack, and special defense, and as far as I can tell, every nature mint vendor has the serious mint, which is just pure neutral nature. If you want the speed stat boosting nature mints, those can be found at this market stall over here on the southeastern side of the city along the canals instead. Next up is a simple concept of power increasing, which is just straight up leveling your Pokemon. As your Pokemon level up, they will learn new moves, they can evolve depending on the Pokemon, but importantly, every level increases the stats of your Pokemon too. So even just being a raw higher level than a different Pokemon is a noticeable difference in the power between you. We have a full video on the channel going over some various methods of XP farming in the game, but the short and sweet version is that you want the red canari plush fully upgraded if possible, as it gives a massive XP bonus just for owning it, and you want to do the Z-A Royale nightly battle zone activity with a focus on just fighting trainers. For pure XP in this activity, the only thing that matters is the battles themselves and trying to find the higher level or higher rank opponents, as they are worth more experience when you defeat them. Simple as that. Finally then, we have your moves themselves, the things you actually want to use in combat, and there are 2 topics to talk about here, so I will be splitting it up a little bit. But to start off with, moves in general, you learn new moves when leveling up, which depends on the species of your Pokemon. Or you can learn moves through the TM items. You get a bunch of TMs along the path of rewards from completing research tasks, so if one that you desire is on this list, you can see it's there, so it's a quite straightforward way to get it. Otherwise, there are also TMs that you can find around the open world. Generally speaking, the yellow Pokeball items that you will come by will always have a TM of some kind. As well, some side missions will also give some specific TMs, so the answer to this question is mostly it depends on which move you're after specifically, but those are all of the general ways that you can manually change your moveset. One other note on this topic though is that the alpha Pokemon always seem to have one move that is not in their normal learnable moveset from leveling up. An example being Staryu. I have 2 alpha Staryu, both of them know Ice Beam. Ice Beam is not a move that Staryu normally learns without a TM, so this is essentially just an extra move that it has access to because it was an alpha, and all alphas seem to have a move from outside of their standard moveset as like a bonus reward for catching them, essentially. Then finally we've got our plus moves. Plus moves unlock when you unlock Mega Evolution, and they basically let you spend a small amount of your Mega Energy to enhance one attack's power and range. Generally, they are very powerful if you use them correctly in the right moments, and they are a way of getting Mega Evolution level power in very small bursts without blowing your whole Mega Wad. A lot of moves will just develop the ability to be used as plus moves naturally as you use the abilities and as you level up your Pokemon, but if you want to manually turn a move into a plus move that isn't one already, you can do that, but there are 2 main requirements. First is that you have to be rank D through story progression, as this is another function that is at the Justice Dojo on the eastern side of the map. This time we'll be talking with Josie, who is just a little bit to the left of the hyper training NPC we talked to earlier. The second requirement for this then is that the Pokemon whose moves you are trying to enhance must be at least level 50. She just will not do it otherwise. If it is level 50 though, you can exchange Seeds of Mastery to make any move that you want capable of being used as a plus move, nice and easy. As for how to get Seeds of Mastery, these are a common drop when defeating or capturing alpha Pokemon. They seem to be random chance when you do so, with that chance increasing dramatically with levels to the point where starting around level 30 alphas, it will start to feel like it's basically guaranteed to get a seed for everyone that you beat. That just about does it for today then, everyone. Everything you need to know to min-max your Pokemon into a perfect ideal being. Whether you use that to take a meta Pokemon into PvP and smash people down, or you just use that to take some silly little fella that you think is cute and make them capable of absolutely just breaking down any challenge in their way. I hope you've all enjoyed this then, and hopefully it makes your journey through the game a little bit easier, or at least a little bit more enjoyable. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet.
Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.